Okay, so our next speakers are joining us now. Dr. Donna Herber and Dr. Jennifer Dewis, joining us from Disruptive Enterprises. We're very excited for them to talk to us about their new, now open clinical trial, which is very exciting, looking at ketone supplements for treatment in Angelman syndrome. Thank you.
Okay, so in previous years, we've also had our corporate founder, Mike McCandless, here with us, but there's going to be a foot of snow hit his home state of North Carolina, so he had to get back before he got stuck here. While Jessica and I are up here, I really don't want this to look like it's just the two of us that have been doing this for you, because there's been a ton of people involved, and a lot of them have already walked across this stage. Ed Weber pulled me into this a very long time ago, and then immediately introduced me to Paula. So, very quickly it became part of the community that we were looking at. And then, I started talking to Allison, and then Terry Jo Bichelle got involved as well with a lot of her ideas about how a trial design might actually look, what it might actually look like. And, the team at Vanderbilt has been hugely supportive of what we've done. We started with an idea, and they led us to a protocol. So, I have a PhD, I'm not an MD, so this was really important to be surrounded by people who had a lot more wisdom than I did, or the people that even had started the company. So I definitely want you to understand that it's not us, it's this community and a lot of experts that have helped us through this. And even more recently, our work with FAST Australia with Megan Cross and the registry has just been invaluable. And before we start, I'd like to say a big thank you to Adriana Flores of Yummy Foods. Raise your hand if you tried one of those little cookies back there. Alrighty then, thank you, Adriana. These are ketogenic cookies. They're paleo-friendly and keto-friendly. And Adriana, stand up, where are you? If you have any questions, she's in the back. If you have any questions, pick up one of the cards. But we are all about food. We are a medical food company, but we also have other food companies, so we care about what you eat. All right, so again, I'm Donna Herber. I'm the Chief Science Officer, and we're going to give you an overview of our clinical trial using a ketone-based medical food as well as preliminary data. This basic research that supports this was done by Dr. Weber at the University of South Florida and funded by the FAST community. And this clinical trial is a further collaboration and funding between FAST and our company. So we are grateful to you, the community, not only for your wisdom, but for making this possible. So why consider nutrition? Dietary intervention has been used to control seizures and epilepsy, primarily using a ketogenic diet for almost 100 years. Specific to Angelman syndrome, both the ketogenic diet and low glycemic index diets are successful at treating seizures in Angelman syndrome. But importantly, ketone-based foods, not just ketogenic, but ketone-based foods, were successful in improving motor coordination, learning and memory, and seizures in animal models. And that's Ed Weber's work that's shown down here at the bottom. So our hypothesis is that ketone-based medical foods will improve the patient's nutrition, shift their metabolism, and bring the benefits of the classical ketogenic diet without the restrictiveness. So shown here are 3 different pie charts with the percent of carbohydrates, fats, and proteins in the diets that we're talking about. So a regular diet is 50 to 60% carbohydrate, like our lunch. About a third fat and a third protein. Low glycemic index significantly increases the fat and decreases the carbohydrate, but then a classical ketogenic diet is a very low carbohydrate, very high fat diet. So medical foods for patients with AS, these are not drugs. Think of them as food, not drugs, but they're indicated when the patient's nutrition and their condition can't be managed through diet alone. And given the feeding difficulties and the lack of communication with this population, we believe they fall into that category. These foods are used under medical supervision. Okay, so this isn't just something you order off of Amazon and go throw your kid on. They really need to be involved with the physician. They provide unique support through nutrition for the patient's needs, and they're specially formulated. So this isn't just ground up broccoli. This isn't just coconut oil. These are specially formulated to specifically manage the diet through disease, the disease through diet, and therefore oral consumption. So these are foods. And I'm going to turn it over now to Dr. Dewis to talk about the trial design and our initial outcomes.
Thank you all for having us here today to discuss our trial, and I just can't help but second what Donna said about how much work went into trial design and how much help we had from the community, in particular Terry Jo Bichelle, Allison, and Paula, as well as Dr. Ed Weber. So we really wanted to design a trial that not only would help us to understand if our medical food was working, but also to help us to know if some of these measures could be helpful in some of the upcoming trials in the community. So we designed a trial together to try to understand these things, but then have data that could be used and accessed by everyone in the community. So our objective was to look at whether a ketone-based food would induce and sustain ketosis. And I have families come see me in clinic all the time, and they say, well, we're on a ketogenic diet, a very strict ketogenic diet, and it's definitely benefiting my child. But what you could do to help me improve my quality of life and the quality of life of my child would be if I could give her a banana. She loves bananas. And that's our goal, is to try to figure out how do we support individuals with Angelman nutritionally to get those benefits that they're seeing from diets without having to go out of ketosis. Our primary outcome is to really think about the safety and tolerability. So is it something that's feasible to do that they're not having significant side effects or concerns from? And in particular, GI symptoms were something that we were thinking about. And we're also looking at secondary outcomes. We wanted to make sure from a safety perspective that none of the things that we want to get better get worse. And so we were looking at a double-blind placebo-controlled crossover study to enroll individuals from ages 4 to 11. And we have a baseline lead-in where, like I said, we are collecting measures at home to try to help us with upcoming future trials, and then for a comparison of individuals on both placebo and on the nutritional formulation. So the clinic visits, there would be 3 clinic visits if you enrolled in the trial. And during these visits, we are focusing on objective measures. So we're using blood sampling to look at whether individuals who come in are in ketosis on the formulation. We're looking at EEG, ERP, and mobility, all of which I'll describe in a few minutes. And the way that the trial design looks is up there. And you can see there's that 2-week baseline period, followed by an intervention period that includes a time on placebo and a time on the nutritional formulation. And we really wanted to incorporate home monitoring and continuous data points into the trial. And so we're using an iPad, and we're using apps based on an iPad, and we're including a device that goes underneath the mattress to record sleep data. We're also looking at diaries, and all electronically based diaries, to look at real-time data that we can look at while individuals are in the trial. And these would include GI symptoms as well as seizure diaries. We are also monitoring whether individuals are in ketosis with urine keto sticks regularly throughout the trial. So we're just getting started, and we have 3 individuals already in the trials. And you can see the characteristics here. And we're enrolling individuals on all different types of diets. So some of the individuals are on standard American diet, some of them are on low glycemic index therapy, and some of them are on ketogenic diets. And again, I just want to emphasize that this is the first time that a medical food has been used. So, and a ketone body has been used to look at whether we can sustain ketosis, and we really wanted to make sure we were looking at safety and tolerability first. And so those are the primary goals of the study. We are also looking at these secondary outcome measures, as I mentioned. So our first hypothesis is to look at whether individuals would be in sustained ketosis, and we're doing this with blood and urine ketone measurements. We're also looking at the home sleep monitor. So we're looking to see if sustained ketosis helps improve sleep in individuals with Angelman syndrome, and our sleep monitor can tell us how long individuals are in REM sleep or other different types of sleep, as well as look at heart rate and breathing rate during sleep. We're also looking at EEG outcomes, and you've heard a little bit from Ann Anderson about the increased delta power that we see in individuals with Angelman syndrome. We're also just looking to see if individuals who do have clear seizures continue to have seizures on the nutritional formulation, or they at least have improvement in their seizures. And then we're also looking at ERP, event-related potential. And here on the diagram, you'll see that there's a difference in amplitude, and the difference in amplitude corresponds to neural activity. And there was a recent paper from Sasha Key's group that showed that individuals with Angelman can learn and do have changes in their amplitude based on an auditory processing. So we're also looking at metabolic shifts and in gait tracking. So there was a lot of discussion about this yesterday, but this is a paper that was published by Joe Greco's group looking to see that the center of control of individuals with Angelman syndrome is different, and we are looking at that in individuals in the trial. And again, part of the emphasis on this is that in Dr. Weber's work, he showed that in the mouse model, mobility definitely improved on the formulation, and so we're hoping to see that in the human trial. So we are actively recruiting, so please let us know if you're interested. It's ages 4 to 11. The main things to know is that your child does have to be able to walk on the gait tracker. And just some take-home points. So everybody in the trial is going to get the formulation. It is a double-blind, placebo-controlled trial, but there is a crossover, and everyone will get the ketone-based food. Also, we're hoping that we get some information about your child, both to help the community and help with trials going forward, but also information that you will be able to obtain for your child. And then, most importantly, we are working with the global registry, and we're going to provide the data into the global registry for people to be able to access it. So if you're interested, please don't hesitate to get in touch with us, and there's an email address up there. You can come find us on the breaks. Thank you.
I think we have time for one quick question. One thing I want to just acknowledge is that in working with you guys and designing this study, people in the room may not realize that they did not need to go through the FDA to get approved for this clinical trial, because this is not a drug that would need, it's not a drug, so it would not need to be FDA approved necessarily. But one thing I want to realize is that they didn't need to go to these lengths to do all of these outcome measure assessments on these patients, because the FDA is not going to be in control of whether or not this is approved or not approved. But they decided to do that for the sake and the benefit of our kids, because they felt that they needed to know if our kids were safe, and they needed to know if they were having any ill effect from this treatment. It wasn't necessarily to prove that it worked. They were more interested to make sure they were safe. And I was so touched when Donna told me that, and I just want you guys to know how much our community appreciates you.